Good morning. It's Terry Jo Wheeler. I'm super happy to be starting this process with you all of decluttering. Some of you have already begun. I want to start each morning with a little 2-minute peace meditation. So if you're watching this now, you can just do it right along with me. If you're watching it later, I really encourage you to take the 2 minutes and just center yourself in yourself. It only takes a minute or two to do that. And um, take some breaths and just slow everything way down, because it will actually make the whole process a lot better, more enjoyable. And the other thing I want to share is right after I do the centering, I'm going to move right into a calling in the light. It's kind of like a prayer, although it's not a religious. I try to stay away from specific religion. So it's more a calling to the universe, great spirit, creator, whatever you call your higher power, to ask for the light, to ask for grace and guidance in this process. So you'll see how I do that. But each day we're going to start with a 2-minute meditation. I was going to say peace meditation, but it is to bring peace to ourselves. And then I'll call in the light, which will take another minute or so. Okay, so let's dive in. I'm setting my little alarm here. So we will take a solid 2 minutes and really just get centered in ourselves, in our hearts, in our intention for this week, for today, our intention for today. Hopefully you've made your list and you know what you're going to work on today, whether it's this morning, this afternoon, or this evening. And so just sending light to that. And now just resting and knowing that it's going to get done. Sometimes I put my hand on my heart and my hand on my belly. I find this is a very calming practice to remind me I'm here. It's okay. I'm with myself. See, wasn't that nice? Oh, feels so good to just slow down. So, Mother, Father, God, Great Spirit, Creator, we are so grateful to be here, to be on this journey, to be ready to clear whatever is no longer serving us. So we ask for grace in this process and ease and flow and just a deep knowing of what we want to keep and what we want to let go of. There's no struggle at all. It's just a natural process. And the time is easy, breezy, fun. We are inspired as we're doing this clearing and in divine knowing. And we ask that anything that can be released, that it be released. That includes on the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual levels, on the subconscious level, anything no longer serving us, that can be lifted and taken up to the higher realms and transformed and used in service. And in its place, we want more joy, a sense of peace and contentment, clarity, vision, focus, inspiration, enthusiasm, vitality, flow, gentleness, compassion, kindness, and a sense that everything's okay inside of ourselves, in our home, and in the world. A trust in the divine process of this life. For this and so much more, we're grateful, and so it is. Wow. I'm so glad I did that little calling in of the light. That came this morning when I was in my meditation. It was like, I knew I wanted to do the 2-minute peace meditation, but I'm always a little bit shy about praying or calling in the light because I don't want to ever polarize people or offend them if they're not religious or if they're agnostic or atheist. So I hope you understand that where that's coming from is really a purity in wanting to call forward presence, love, light, lightness of being, grace, ease, all of that, which is possible. It's possible to set our intention in this process and that's really what I want to talk about today on day one, is our intention. So, you may want to sit for just a minute right now and question, why am I doing this challenge? And I actually literally didn't do that before the thing, so I'm going to just do it right here with you. Why am I interested in doing this clutter clearing challenge? What comes forward for me is that it's really easy for little pockets of our life to get out of order. And we tend to not want to tackle it because there's maybe 52 different areas of our life that are out of order. And the only way we can actually do it, hi Lisa, the only way we can actually tackle it is one step at a time. And so I'm going to talk about something that I mentioned last night in the pep talk, which is basically, I got to remember to look up the green light, which is basically there are 2 ways to organize. Now, when I'm doing a whole home, because I'm a home organizer, sometimes people will hire me just because they want their home office done, or they want their kitchen done, or they want, their, like if they have a hobby like crafts and sewing area done or something like that, which is totally great. That's, easy to tackle. But some people want their whole house. A lot of people do. And what I do is I categorize things. That's the way a lot of home organizers work. So we'll work all the clothing items, which include shoes, socks, belts, purses, all of that in one setting. Maybe smaller accessory items like jewelry and things like that would be in another, glasses would be in another setting. Food items would be in another setting. Plastic containers for food items would be in another setting. And I don't mean in one day we do this, one day we do that. It'd be like we get all that done and then we do the next area. Then we get all that done and we do the next area. But what I thought about for this challenge is, and that is one way to do it. And if you have extra time, I actually happen to have a really slow work week this week, so I can take on a few more bigger jobs. Even though the ones I signed up for in my list are pretty small, they're under 30 minutes, I could technically do a 1 hour, 2 hour job of organizing. And you don't know, the thing with organizing and why other people don't start is they don't know how long it's going to take. But if we start with these little bite-sized chunks, like last night I just organized this can, right, of pens, you start to build the momentum and you get excited about it, right? So you do that one, you're like, that felt good. Oh, let me do another one. The other thing that happens is when you start something, it bleeds over into another area, right? So when I was doing the pens yesterday, I was like, oh, I should do my crayons and my markers and my scissors. I have a whole like layered craft box. And I just decided to do that. And then I thought, oh, I should do my office supplies because I have a lot of those. And then I was like, oh, I can't get into that right now. It's too much time. So that will probably be something I do later on in the week. But I just wanted to share with you, those are the 2 ways you can do it. You can do it by category. I'm going to organize all of my purses, right? Or I'm going to organize all my socks. One sock drawer, right? What do you have? 40 pairs of socks if you're abundant. Maybe you have 20, but I probably have about 30. You can go through and maybe you even say, I'm going to get rid of 5 pairs. And I have 30, I want to only have 20. You can do it a variety of different ways to let go of things. And I'm going to talk later on in this talk. Actually, I might do it tomorrow because this is really the intro talk. I'll talk about the reasons why we keep our stuff. Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow in tomorrow's talk. Today, I just want to focus on intention, getting started, supporting yourself. Start with that 2-minute meditation. Call in the light yourself if you want to. Set your intention for your project for the day. My project is books. And I realized last night when I was going to bed, I'm like, oh, I have more books than I think because there are a few little secret places I have them. Like underneath a chair, there's a couple books that I have for a project. In a basket, there's another couple books that I have for a project because they're separated kind of by category, but I haven't done that project. So I really just need to put those books back where they go instead of keeping them there. In one case, I'm still intentional about doing that project. So I'm going to keep them in that area. I have some up in my two parts of my closet because I live I rent a room in a house, so I don't have a lot of space. I have my children's books up here, which I love, and I just organized about 2 weeks ago, so I'm not going to really even touch those. But I have at least 4 times that amount of books somewhere else in 2 other places. So those I am going to organize, and I'm going to decide what I'm keeping, what I'm giving away. It's a great time for this clutter clearing challenge, by the way, because it's the holiday season. So if I have a bunch of books that I haven't even used that are new kids books that I got when I was a teacher, it's a great time to put it on Nextdoor and say, hey, is there any place that knows of a shelter or a church or somewhere you can donate gently used or not used at all children's books. I have canned goods. Can I donate them to a pantry? So it's really a great time to do this challenge. And did I go over the reasons why to do it? Oh, my reasons why. So I want to finish that before I get into our special bonus technique today. I have to tune in. Notice how I do that. I'm closing my eyes. I'm slowing down. Not a rush here. Tuning in. So the main reason why I wanted to do this is because I do have these little pockets that have gotten disorganized because life happens, and we just kind of throw things in the junk drawer, so to speak. And so I really thought I need to organize this. And one of the things that's really bothering me is my trunk, because I go to clients' house and I use stuff that I keep in my trunk, and it just gets kind of disorganized because I'm going in and out of it, and I have too much stuff in there, to be honest. So I just thought, oh, I really need to do that. And I don't want to, but I thought, oh, if I do this challenge, then I have some accountability. So we tend to do things when we feel accountable, when we have support, when we have some guidance. So hopefully that's what this group will represent to you, whether you're watching live or whether you're tuning in now. So today's lesson is all about, for the home challenge and the heart challenge really, is to set your intention. Your intention for the week is maybe to clear as much as possible and to feel really good with all your efforts, no matter how small they are, okay? Even if you organize one 5-minute little area a day, even if you organize your little tiny makeup bag you carry in your purse, that's organizing, and it does make a difference. The other thing I want to say is our stuff and the clutter around us makes a huge difference in our energy field, okay? We are sensitive to energy. I don't know if any of you have ever watched Marie Kondo or read her books, but she talks about the clothing and all of the items in her house. They have a life of their own. That's why she does the spark joy method, which is something like basically you bring the item, here's my phone, in. I bring it into my heart. I think she just brings it close. I bring it into my heart and I see, ooh, that doesn't feel good, by the way. It's my cell phone. And I'm super sensitive. Let me find something else. Let me get this little lady here. Yeah, that feels good. Gives me chills. So we're super sensitive. Some of us more sensitive than others, especially if you've been working on yourself, because the more you work on yourself, the more you clear your energy field. So my point was that everything has energy. So if you have a space filled with stuff, you're taking on that vibration, that energy, right? So even this, I was saying, is a little too busy back in the back, but right now my inner child really loves all these little tchotchkes, and so I'm not ready to part with them, which is okay. But and that's another thing I want to say is no pressure on yourself to get rid of it. Really do the best you can to tune it in. And there may be something that maybe you don't love it, but you use it. Like, for instance, a hammer may not bring a lot of joy to my heart, but there'd be a part of me that's like, keep it. You'll feel it, right? So I'm going to talk more about the Spark Joy method tomorrow. And that was just a little taste, and maybe I'll do a little taste tomorrow on it too. And the next thing I wanted to do, because I want to keep this has already been 15 minutes. I knew the first call might be a little bit longer because I'm introducing everything, but my hope is to do about a 15-minute talk, including the 2-minute meditation. So really and the calling in the light. So really it's about a 12-minute talk. But somewhere it'll be 15 to 20 minutes every day, hopefully. So today I want to introduce to you the bonus clearing. So you've set your intention, you're going to do your area. I'm doing books. I'm doing books for a reason, because the bonus clearing area today is a mental clearing technique that I learned. I think I learned it in David Allen's Getting Things Done course. I don't think it was called that. I took it 25 years ago through USM, but I remember it and it really made a lot of sense to me, and I've used it, although I haven't used it lately. So I'm excited to use it. So this is, and I don't have a lot of books. Remember I told you I have some secret hiding places with some, and I have a lot of children's books. Well, this is the main stash of my adult books. I don't know what else to call them, but grown-up books. And what I want to say, the reason why it's so little, because some people might say, wow, that's not a lot of books. I made a decision a while ago that keeping books around, for me, I know some people love books, but for me, there was an energy to books that made me feel heavy, like I had to read them, and I had to read them again. So any of them that I didn't like or I already read, I let them go. There's an exception to that, and that is any kind of reference book. For instance, Journey of the Soul is a great one that I read. The Psychology of Man's Evolution, Astrology for Lovers, How to Be an Adult, The Untethered Soul, Loyalty to Your Soul, The Four Agreements, Life Loves You. Those are basically my list. And I think I have a few more. I know I have a few more in the closet and in another section. So I will take a before and after picture, which I really encourage you to do. I'm going to dump all, you can do the stage it however you want. I'm going to dump all my books onto the living room floor, and I'm going to start by categorizing them by information books, enjoyable reads, which I don't really have novels, and spiritual books and children's books. Those are probably my sections. And then you can see, like, oh my gosh, I have 120 children's books. I really need to cut this down. This is a little too much. I was a former kindergarten teacher, and I love children's stories. So that's why I love children's books. So that's why I have a lot of those. But anyway, what I was going to tell you is, here's the simple technique. So you ready? Okay, so simple. So this pile right here. Oh, I also have one more section. I have at least probably 10 books that friends have written that I haven't read. I know that's terrible, but I'm not a big reader. That's why I like children's books. That's about my span of attention span. I listen to books on Audible. So if you write a book, put it on Audible, I'll totally listen to it. I just don't sit still long enough to read. And so one day I want to read them, and I'm not getting rid of the friends' books, although you have full permission to do that. I don't want to, because I actually feel like at some point maybe I will take that book on a trip and just read it all the way through. And I feel terrible that I haven't supported friends in that way. I also know it's a reason why I haven't written a book, because I'm thinking, well, if I don't read it, nobody's going to read books. But a lot of people love to read. I'm just not one of those people. Okay, especially after all my schooling, because I did all that reading in school, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to read another book, especially not a spiritual or self-help growth book, right? So here's a book a friend gave me that I'm not going to get rid of, because it's a beautiful reference book, to just open it and pick a prayer. So there are books like that too, but it's sitting there waiting for me to read the whole thing through in a certain pile, which is this pile, to read all the way through. And this takes your energy. So you're thinking, basically, your mind is thinking, one day Terry Jo's going to read that. So let's store this little energy for her to read that. That's really how it works in our system. So the technique that I learned is a simple thing where you take the book, you flip through it like this, and I would do it like this because you're going front to back, right? You flip through it, and then you say, done. And then you put it, on that category, and you're going to go through each of your books, and you're going to do this little clearing technique, right? You're going to say, this book, somebody gave me this book. And actually, in looking through this book, I can tell you it's a pretty easy read, so much so that I might put it on my nightstand and say, let's just read this one, because it'll probably take half an hour. Actually, it'll take 2 hours. I'm a slow reader. So, but for now, I'm not going to do that because I'm demonstrating. I'm going to do dun, dun, dun. I'm telling my mind right now, that was great, done. Thank you. Oh, and you thank it too. I forgot to tell you that. This one, oh, this is in my no, it's not. This actually goes in my references. I've read parts of that. This one, I hear it's a fantastic book. I got it a long time ago. This thing called You. Haven't read it yet. Probably won't. It may be one that goes in the discard pile. I have to really sit with it. I haven't done that yet. First, so I want to explain this with books. So first you're going to do that with all of them. Oh, sorry. Done. Thank you. And take a minute and really bless the book. Now, let's say you've done all your books that you haven't yet read. You can also do this with articles. You can do it with magazines. You can do it with newspapers. God, newspapers, get rid of them. Honestly, if they are more than a day old, get rid of them. The news changes every day, and I hope you're reading a newspaper that's decent. So once you've done the completion technique with the books and the magazines and the articles, then I would do this separately. Then you're going to go and take each book and say, do I want to keep this? My heart right away says yes. It's so interesting, this technique. Do I want to keep this? I can feel a curiosity, and there is that thing of let's read a little bit and see if we want to read it, because it's such an easy book. So that's not a long one. Do I want to keep this? Oh, that's not a right away yes. That's a maybe. So what you can do if you're not sure, one of the things I do when I'm clearing is it's very easy to tell the no's and the yeses. The maybes are a little tricky. So what I would do, honestly, in this live example, is put your maybes in one pile. Your no's go in one pile, your yeses and your maybes. You don't have to know what you're going to do with the no's yet, right? Maybe you're going to, for books, Goodwill. There's no point in trying to sell them. And please don't do this. Oh, I know my friend Michelle would love this book. Please don't do that. I work with people all the time in organizing, and I really encourage them not to think of people they can give things to. People don't want your junk. No offense. I shouldn't have said it like that. They have their own stuff. They can buy their own stuff. And it's another step for you. That's one of the biggest reasons. It's another thing to do. And we don't want to add more things to do. We want to make this as simple as possible. The one thing I'd make an exception, of course, is if you know you're going to see your brother tomorrow and you know he'd want that book. That's fine. But I don't want you starting a task list of like, now you have 12 people you have to give your belongings to. Okay. All right. So that's that. And then you'll just go through, like, this is a dear friend's book that I want to read. And I know I want to keep it. But for now, because it's on my taking up space of my time and my energy list, I'm going to at least say I'm completing it. This doesn't mean you're getting rid of it, right? I'm not going to get rid of this book, but I'm going to put it in my yes pile for now. And it's complete in my mind. It's not saving energy to read that one day, right? And then when I decide I want to open the book up, it's a new intention. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's your clearing technique for today. Again, you can do it with articles if you have them printed out. I have several articles that I want to read someday, and some of them are in categories. I'm probably not going to go through my files because I have them in files, but I have a stack of some of them. So I definitely am going to go through. I'm going to do the completion process first, then I'm going to bring them close to my heart and see if it brings energy, or if it's a flat energy, which is a no for me. If it's kind of a little tingle, could be very subtle, but you can feel it. I'll keep it, and then the unsure maybes will go in the maybe pile. And by the end of the day, I'm going to have at least my no pile done, and I'm going to have my yes pile put away. If you want to wait a little bit on the maybe pile, you can, but I don't want you to wait beyond Friday. Like you really need to decide you're still not decided by Friday, it's a yes. Right? I lean toward the other side, which is interesting because some people lean toward get rid of it. But I find that if you give yourself permission to keep it, often you'll want to let it go, or you'll be okay with letting it go. Okay, so that's our challenge for the day. There is a little piece of homework too, by the way, which I need to review. Hold on. It's super simple. So today's mental clearing, which is books, articles, magazines, and newspapers to me. And the home play, because it's going to prepare us for tomorrow's heart challenge, you're going to work on your home clearing, right? And do the clearing of books, and if you don't have time to do books, because obviously that could be a big process, maybe there's a little stack of books that you have by your bed that you haven't read. Do that simple of a technique, and then put one book there and put the rest of them back on your bookshelf or let them go. What I would say is, please don't keep a stack of 10 books by your bed. Every night you're going to bed thinking, that's something I've got to do, and it's going to pull on your energy field. One is allowed, maybe two if you have two different types of books you're reading, like one's informational, one's spiritual, although I don't recommend reading informational books in bed. If you're going to read, reading puts me to sleep, so I do keep a certain spiritual book by my bed to read, and when it's time for bed, I can choose to read that or not. And sometimes I'll have a children's book by my bed because I sometimes will read myself a little story. That's a little tip for the inner child. So the home play, though, is for tomorrow, our extra bonus heart clearing activity is we're going to clear one simple or complicated, depending on how much time you have, one item from our to-do list. So what you need to do, and this is a specific to-do list that you want to complete by the end of 2019. And so I would put, make some time today, spend 5 minutes with your cup of coffee, even if you want to do it. I would do it after you do your clearing process. I'm going to do mine after. But you're going to make a list of at least a few things you want to do by the end of the year. Want to or have to, it's up to you how you word it, right? So for me, I know I have to handle my insurance. I've been really on the fence about what to do, whether I use a health share or I use the insurance companies. It's so like, stressful for me. That's probably the thing I'm going to do. There is another thing I want to do, which is investigate some things to put in my emergency kit, since that's one of the things I'm organizing. I may do that. I need to schedule a dentist appointment. I need to update my website, which is a bigger job, but I really want to do that before the end of the year. So these are the kinds of things I'm talking about. But you see, it could be as small as making a doctor's appointment or as big as handling health insurance or redoing your website. You can decide, and obviously you need to have the time to do it. But there's something about checking things off our list, and I want you to use this group as inspiration and support for you to get that thing done that you've been putting off. Okay, that's tomorrow's task, bonus task, okay, is clearing a to-do list item. And so today for the homework, and you may know right away already, you're like, I know the thing I need to do. I'm going to do it tomorrow, right? So maybe you don't even need to make the list. But if you do need to make a list always helps. And a list is helpful to do for the rest of 2019 too, because maybe you'll want to do this process every week. Who knows? We'll see. Okay. Thanks a lot. Have a blessed day. Enjoy your clearing process and be kind and gentle with yourself. I want to end with that note. Ooh, it is a 30-minute call, but it's okay. First call. It's all right. When you're going through the process, because a lot of us have judgment about our stuff, we have shame that we have too much stuff, shame that we are more fortunate than others, shame that we let it get out of hand, shame that it's cluttered, shame that it's dirty, whatever. I want you to just be gentle with yourself, forgive yourself for any judgments you have, and just get going with the process. It helps, right? Be kind while you're doing it. Use kind words. Oh, look at this. Oh my goodness. We love this when we bought it. We don't need it anymore. Let's let it go, right? Okay, so great. I will see you tomorrow, and happy clearing and organizing. Bye.